the Tattooed Warrior of Kalinga, symbols of courage in pre-colonial Philippines. Long before the Philippines became a colony, the warriors of the Cordillera highlands carved their stories into skin. Their tattoos were more than body art, they were symbols of bravery, honor, and identity. In this episode, we explore the tattooed warrior tradition of Kalinga, a practice that spoke louder than words in the world of pre-colonial conflict and prestige. Among the mountain tribes of northern Luzon, tattoos were worn like armor, proof of courage in battle and protection in the spiritual world. The Kalinga people preserved this rich tradition, passing it from generation to generation. Who were these warriors? What did their tattoos mean? And how does this ancient practice survive in modern times? In the warrior societies of the Northern Highlands, bravery wasn't just celebrated, it was carved into the skin. Among the Kalinga, warfare was a rite of passage, and a warrior's body served as a living chronicle of his accomplishments. Known as mangayaw, these headhunting expeditions were not random acts of violence, but socially sanctioned raids meant to assert dominance, defend territory, or exact justice. For every successful raid, a warrior earned the right to be tattooed. Each tattoo was earned, never given freely. The marks signified valor and loyalty, social currency in a society where status was not inherited but proven in battle. Tattoos embodied masculinity, not through domination, but through responsibility, defending one's village, providing for the clan, and upholding ancestral honor. They were also believed to offer spiritual protection, guarding the body in life and the soul in the afterlife. To the Kalinga, the skin was not simply a surface, it was a canvas of memory. In every line, a story of sacrifice. In every pattern, a vow is fulfilled. Kalinga tattoos were more than decoration. They were deeply symbolic, each motif carrying layers of meaning tied to personal achievement, tribal identity, and spiritual belief. The centipede, or guyod, was among the most revered symbols, believed to offer protection in battle and strike fear into enemies. Its segmented form echoed the warrior's resilience and unyielding spirit. The snake signified transformation and cunning, often chosen by those who had proven their strength through tactical leadership. It was not merely a battle emblem, it was a spiritual guide. Designs that mimicked rice paddies represented abundance and responsibility, earned by warriors who had not only fought, but contributed to the prosperity of the community. Sun motifs symbolized vitality and continuity, often placed at the center of the chest, closest to the heart. While warrior tattoos signified acts of valor, women's tattoos carried different meanings. For them, body art expressed beauty, fertility, and readiness for marriage. The more symmetrical and refined the design, the more admired the bearer. Placement mattered. The chest and arms were reserved for warriors, while the back and legs carried symbols of maturity and lineage. Each region had its own artistic language, but across communities, the designs were unified by one purpose: telling a life story without a single spoken word. To understand the Kalinga tattoo is to read a biography written in ink, where every line carries the weight of identity, courage, and continuity. Tattooing in Kalinga was not a casual act. It was a sacred ritual. Each session marked a rite of passage, carried out with precision, patience, and spiritual focus. The process involved using a sharpened thorn, often from a citrus plant, dipped in soot and inked into the skin through rhythmic tapping. The tattooist, known as the Batok, guided the pattern stroke by stroke, following ancient designs memorized through generations. The pain was real and intentional. It tested the warrior's endurance. Bleeding was part of the offering, the pain a symbol of commitment. To endure it without flinching was to prove one's readiness for the responsibility that came with the mark. These sessions were rarely done in isolation. They were communal, often accompanied by chanting, prayers, or silent witness. The tattoo became more than ink. It became a shared moment, woven into the social fabric of the village. Tattooing was also a form of apprenticeship. Mamba Batok passed down not only technique, but cultural memory, ensuring that both the craft and the values behind it would survive. Each tattoo was more than ink. It was a ceremony, a contract, and a commitment. The artist didn't just mark skin, they recorded a life. Long before colonial forces arrived, the highlands were already shaped by conflict, tribe against tribe, valley against valley. Warfare was not chaos. It followed custom with honor, territory, and justice at its heart. In Kalinga society, warfare, known as mangayaw, was part of a structured code. Raids were carried out in retaliation for past offenses, to protect ancestral land, or to prove one's worth as a warrior. Clashes often occurred with neighboring tribes such as the Batok, Ifugao, and Tinguian. Alliances shifted with generations, but warfare remained a regulated act, guided by tradition and spiritual belief. Despite the violence, peace was always the goal. Intertribal treaties called bodong were held sacred, formal agreements that stopped bloodshed and restored harmony between communities. A warrior's legacy wasn't only measured by how many he defeated, but by how well he upheld his people's honor. Tattoos marked not only battles fought, but peace protected. Unlike much of the lowlands, the Kalinga and other Cordillera tribes successfully resisted Spanish conquest. Their geographic isolation, coupled with their fierce warrior traditions, kept colonial forces at bay for centuries. Spanish expeditions attempted to enter the highlands, seeking to convert and control, but were often repelled. The Kalinga, along with neighboring tribes like the Batok and Ifugao, fought back with strategic ambushes and unyielding resolve. To the Spaniards, they were unruly infidels. To their people, they were defenders of land and autonomy. For the Kalinga, tattooed skin marked not only past victories, it symbolized resistance, freedom, and refusal to be conquered. Their ability to hold the line against colonization preserved their traditions, including their tattooing practices, long after such customs faded elsewhere in the islands. The Spanish eventually encircled the islands. They never truly conquered the highlands. The legacy of resistance lives on, not in monuments, but in memory, in ink, and in the unbroken pride of the tattooed Kalinga. Though the age of headhunters has passed, the legacy of the tattooed warrior endures. In the quiet mountain village of Boscalan, ancient patterns find new life, etched into skin, carried by memory, and passed on with purpose. Artists like Wangad have become living bridges between generations. As the last of the traditional Mamba Batok, she has sparked a revival, drawing global attention to a tradition that once risked being forgotten. Today, the tattoos once earned in war are reclaimed as emblems of identity, heritage, and pride. No longer symbols of conflict, they now tell stories of survival, selfhood, and cultural resurgence. We explored the tattooed legacy of the Kalinga people, an art form born of courage, rooted in identity, and carried through time by those who dare to remember. What do you think of the warrior tradition of the Kalinga? Would you wear your story on your skin? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories of Filipino heritage. Stay curious, stay inspired, and keep exploring the stories written on the body and in history.